I'm Brett, and I've developed a new, simple, modern spiritual philosophy. And in this series of videos, I'd like to tell you all about it. So stay tuned, and if you like what you're hearing, tell other people about it, comment, ask me questions, and we'll go forward from there. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to You Know Yourself with me, Brett. And today's episode is going to be about a vulnerability that I want to critique, and it's slightly nuanced. So, excuse me if I get a little bit lost. I'll try to keep on it, and I'll try to keep the nuance clear. And it's this: that I am making, if not the outright claim, then the implication that you are equipped. I've given my definitions and my observations about what the body, mind, soul, and spirit are. And I'm saying you have those, they are there. And I'm saying if you exercise them, they become stronger and their functionality gets, that you become more functional in the abilities of your body, mind, soul, and spirit. As I say, if you exercise them. And I'm trying to say that there's an outward force, there's an outward environment that has brought about that's brought about you being disempowered, and therefore is part of the reason why you don't, or why people are not exercised in their body, mind, soul, and spirit, and therefore at the upper ability of their function. And what I'm saying is that it's really easy to exercise your body, mind, soul, and spirit, and that all the possibility of doing that is right there. You don't need to do a lot. You just need to do it, and therefore I'm implying that you're equipped, and therefore I'm implying that you are enough. Now, the issue with saying that you are enough is that it brings about the possibility of you feeling shame, because, of course, by me stating you are enough, I'm actually implying you're not enough. I wouldn't need to say it if the counter implication wasn't there. If you get what I'm saying with that, hopefully you do. I wouldn't have to state you are enough if the counterpoint of you are not enough wasn't being implied by it. So the proposition or the question I'm asking is, if I reframe it as you are equipped, is it just a fancy way of saying you're not enough? And is it some way of stating that that you are not enough, despite what I'm saying? So let's look at the argument for why that might be. And I'm looking over here at my notes. So, one very telling point is that if I'm telling you that you're equipped, that is still somebody from outside of you telling you that. And so you may not have come to that realization yourself. Therefore, you clearly haven't been enough to come to that realization. So there's a great way for you to feel some shame about how not enough you are, which is one of the three critical mass paradigms that I describe in the cycle of disempowerment. Not enough. It's still somebody outside of you pointing at the idea that you are equipped and going, look. So it's still somebody other than yourself. It's still the other pointing it at you. Again, one of the three critical mass paradigms, the other, and the significance of the other, and the dependency on the other that is created through the cycle of disempowerment. And there's another element of this, which is that if it's not, it's sort of weirdly not empowering to tell you that you're equipped if you've had years and years and years of institutionally being told that you're not equipped because someone else has the answer, and they don't trust you to embody, or they don't trust you to inquire and empower yourself to embody some sort of answer, which might well have been given to you. I'm not saying outright that you should disregard all information given to you and disregard any suggestions or help or advice. I'm saying there's a difference between just switching off your ability to inquire and critique and just going with whatever anybody tells you. There's a difference between that and receiving help and suggestions and advice, and going out and seeking help and suggestions and advice and critiquing it and looking at it and putting it into your own processing abilities through your body, mind, soul and spirit, and seeing what you come out with at the other end. In other words, that's a fancy way of saying there's a difference between being dependent and being empowered and going, oh yeah, that bit of advice is useful and that bit isn't. I don't want to give those simple, because none of this, in some respects, all of it's really simple and all of it is not as well at the same time. So if for years and years and years you've been told that you are not enough, here's the answers, just do as we tell you, then someone else coming along and saying, oh, you are enough, again, just brings about that possibility for people to wallow in shame and guilt about the idea that they have been enough all that time, but they haven't been doing it or haven't been empowered to do it. Which again won't empower people. It will just allow people to wallow in shame. It allows me to wallow in shame. I am not above any of this stuff. I suffer from it. I am not fixed or cured. I'm not trying to say that I'm better than anyone else or better than everyone else. Very far from it. So those are some of the arguments of why, even if I try and reframe it into some fancy words of you are equipped, I am equipped, we are equipped, it might still just bring about the same response of shame that simply saying you are not enough does, because it implies that you're not enough. You're equipped, but you haven't been doing it. You're equipped, but you're not enough to use that equipment. Pardon me. Right. So that's the argument for why that reframing of it is just a reframing, and it's not. I'm still saying the same thing, and it could bring about the possibility of shame and not be useful. But what about the counterpoint? What about the idea that actually telling you that you are equipped is useful and is a positive reframing? Perhaps what I'm saying is that you are equipped, so there's nothing more or less for you to gain, and you are equipped, and there's a reason why you haven't been using the equipment, and you have the ability to use that equipment, and you don't need some special course, you don't need to pay extra money to get to the next level, you don't need to be part of the inner circle. There's not some complex protocols that you have to follow that if you get one tiny bit of it wrong, the whole thing doesn't work. You already have the equipment that you need. You don't even need it. You already have the equipment, which, when exercised, might empower you as a counter to the disempowerment that you've been feeling that's given to you by the cycle of disempowerment. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of almost as simple as that. And so what that means is, yes, there's a great possibility there for you to feel shame. Oh, what, you mean I've had this all the time and I haven't been using it? Oh my God, oh, how embarrassing. Oh no. Oh. That's one side of it. The other side of it is, I have this stuff. It's my choice whether I use it or not. I have the responsibility. I have the ability. I don't need to get it from anyone else. Again, that's not an argument for why you shouldn't listen to advice or suggestions or help, or go and get advice or suggestions or help. Empowering yourself doesn't mean that you do everything absolutely by yourself without any input from anyone else. Empowering yourself might mean, it's for you to decide this, that you can receive help and suggestions and advice from other people and make up your own mind about that advice and suggestions and help from other people, and take from it what you think and feel might be useful to you. What me telling you that you are equipped is about is me trying to tell you there's nothing more or less that you need right now. And that you but what I'm saying is that the equipment that you're already equipped with is blunt and weak and atrophied, and it's not functioning to the best of its ability because we haven't been empowered to exercise it and work it and work it and get it to its uppermost functionality. We just haven't been empowered to do that. So, is there a resolve to this? Yeah. It's not my intent to make me or other people feel shame about the idea that we are equipped, but we're not using that equipment. But whatever my intent is, kind of doesn't matter. It does matter. Whatever my intent is, it doesn't change how it lands with somebody, how it lands with you listening to this right now. And at the same time, how it lands with you is not, I can't control that. I can tell you what my intent is, and still how it lands with you is still something that you have control over. And at the same time, what I'm saying is it's going to be, for some people it might be hard to have control over it, because we all live in the cycle of disempowerment where we're not reminded that actually we are empowered to take control of ourselves and to have control over ourselves, because we have these amazing elements called our body, mind, soul, and spirit. We have doing, understanding, feeling our feelings, and we have choice. And those things are not empowered through the society that we live in that is the manifestation of the cycle of disempowerment. Or perhaps, yeah. So my intent is to remind you of the amazing power that you have. My intent is to remind you of the empowerment that you can manifest. My intent is to remind you that you don't necessarily need to go seeking a bunch of other stuff. You already have doing, understanding, feeling, and choice. You already have those things. You can use those things. And by using them and exercising them and getting them to their uppermost functionality and their strongest ability, that might be empowering for you. That might be empowering for human beings. I don't know for certain. Maybe nobody knows for certain what their framework might create as an outcome. But for me to tell you that you are equipped is not there to make you feel shame about, because I'm also proposing why you haven't been, why humans, why society hasn't been empowering itself to use the equipment it already has. My intent is to empower you and to say, I'm not telling you what to do with it. I'm just telling you that it's right there and that you can exercise it, and then you can use it in whatever way you want. And that's my version of empowerment. I don't think it's empowering to say, here's some tools, use them to do exactly this. Which is what most leaders are saying. They're saying, do what we tell you to do with the tools that we give you to get this particular outcome. That's what most leaders are saying. I'm saying you have these amazing, wonderful tools, exercise them, sharpen them, keep them functional, and then see for yourself what it creates, and choose for yourself what it creates, and do for yourself what it creates, and understand for yourself what it creates, and feel for yourself what it creates. So my intent is to empower you. How it lands with you is something that I can't control, and that I have to let go of. But I am conscious of the idea that I don't want to give people or myself yet another thing that I can whip myself with and use to justify all the shame that I live in, because that's not empowering in any way. So yeah, I am acutely aware of the reframing of, or I'm acutely aware of, you are equipped is a nice fancy way of saying you are enough, which implies that you're not enough, because why would I say that if that wasn't the case? But it comes with the intent of empowerment, not the intent to make you feel shame. But that's only my intent. I can't decide how it lands with you and what it actually does for you. But it does also come with, you are equipped, and you are equipped, and what you do with that equipment is entirely up to you. That's always the point that I'm putting forward. You are equipped, and what you do with that is entirely up to you. Not you are enough and you're enough to do the things that I think you should do. That's a completely different kettle of fish. Right, as always, if you've stayed with me this long, thank you very much, and I'll catch you all soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.